When performing a temperature uniformity survey, Phoenix temperature measurement can provide data loggers that will provide in individual units the capability to measure up to 20 channels. It may be possible, though, that the furnace is so large that you need to achieve AMS 2750 even more thermocouples to cover the void of the furnace working volume. To address this issue, it is possible to use multiple data loggers to perform a TUS, and within the Thermal View Survey software use a feature which we refer to as merging of profile data. So you can take 3 separate data loggers, each with 20 channels, merge each one of them to produce a individual temperature uniformity survey with up to 60 active channels or 60 working thermocouples. A critical requirement if you are to perform multiple data logger runs is obviously to synchronize the data collection process. But within the Thermal View survey, it's possible to start each data logger on the survey at the same point using the date and time trigger, which means that all of the data will be measured at exactly the same point in the survey. So when you merge the data, it will be synchronized perfectly within the software analysis and reporting features. On the screen now, you'll see we have a conventional database table, and you'll notice that there are 3 separate PTM files that were generated on the same day and the same time, but for 3 separate loggers. This is a 20 channel data logger, 3 units used to produce a single 60 channel run. So what we do is we go to the file pull down menu, and there's an option called merge profile data. A dialog box will come up which gives you the merging tool, which allows you to select the PTM files you want from the master database or a copy of the master database, and you basically add them to the merge list. Having done that, you can create all of the traceability information for the file, and you simply press the Create Merge File button. That will then take all of the data from the 3 separate PTM files and incorporate it into a single file. To complement the uniformity data, obviously we have to set up the necessary survey files to allow the full analysis, application of correction factors, the TUS frame and library files, etc. For the thermocouple correction factor file, it's simple just to simply set up a unique calibration file for the 60 channels. You can obviously have thermocouples from different batches with different calibration tables, and as we showed in a previous video, that's easy to set up. For the data logger correction factor file, obviously each one of the data loggers will have its own unique calibration file or correction factor file. So what we have to do is we have to use when we're installing or importing the correction factor files for the data loggers. When you have a merged file, it comes up with a unique dialog box which allows you to select the data loggers that have been used in that merged file, and then incorporate the correction factor files accordingly for each of the separate files. For the TUS frame, when we set up a new TUS frame for a multiple number of channels, we have the ability to select the data logger type. Rather than a 10 channel or a 20 channel, we select merged logger, excuse me, and we then identify how many total thermocouples are used in that particular survey. So it's simple to set up all of the necessary supporting files to complement the TUS data that you're analyzing. At the end of the day, the analysis of the TUS data is as it would be for a 10 or a 20 channel. As you can see on this screen now, we have a TUS run where we have our active 60 channels or 60 thermocouples. We have a single TUS level displayed on the screen, and at the bottom you've got all of the thermocouples. You scroll across the screen to see all of the data that has been collected for the 60 channels from the furnace. And in the report you have full documentation of all of the thermocouples accordingly from 1 through to 60. So there we have it, an easy way of combining the TUS data collected from 3 separate data loggers into a single PTM file to allow you to provide your temperature uniformity survey for one particular furnace with up to 60 thermocouple measurement points. So let us now see exactly how we would set up a 60 channel TUS survey analysis and reporting system using 3 previously obtained TUSs from 3 separate data loggers. In the database you'll see here that we have our 3 logger runs for logger 2295, 3395 and 4495, each with 20 channels. What I have to do then first of all is go to File and Merge Profile Data. The Profile Merge Tool dialog comes up, and all I'm going to do now is find the 3 files that I want to merge. So I've got 2295 I'm going to add to the list, 395 add to list, and 495 add to list. Let me just put my name in to document the actual merged file. So it's a merged 60 channel TUS. I'm going to create the merge file, simply pressing the button, and it will then actively generate the merged file within the database. You'll notice that the TUS data is now highlighted with a suffix of MF, which means merged file. So we know from the database that this is a TUS run that has been produced by combining separate PTM files. And you can see on the graph that we have our 60 channels shown here clearly, so we can turn any of these on or off, and we've got the data that we have for our TUS run itself. Let me just first of all apply a TUS run to this. I'm going to pick just a single TUS level at 600 degrees. I'm going to apply it to the current survey. Obviously it's not set up correctly, so bear with me. I'm just going to go back to the full zoom. Go to temperature data and zoom in and adjust it. So I've got my successful TUS performed at 600 degrees. Obviously I now need to complement this with the settings library files, because as you can see there are no logger correction factors applied, no thermocouple correction factors applied, or a TUS frame. Let's do the TUS frame first of all. Okay, so click on TUS frames. I'm going to go to generate a new one, add new. So it's going to be 60 channel TUS frame, and I'm going to choose a merge logger because I'm combining 3 separate 20 channel data loggers in this run, and the combined number of channels is then 60. Click OK. Oh, it's telling me that the name's already been used, so let's just put frame 1. Click OK. I can then import my image for the frame. and I would then simply drag the thermocouples to the respective positions on the frame itself. You'll notice that I have now the 60 channels active in the dialog box which allows me to describe where they're positioned. Obviously, this would take some time to complete, so I'm just going to leave it there, but you would continue that process of fully describing where the thermocouples are positioned. I'm going to apply that to the current survey. The next thing I'm going to do is set up the TC correction factor file. And what I've got here is I've already set up a 60 channel calibration file for this particular run. Now you can see here that we have the table with 3 batches of thermocouple, each with their own unique calibration data. But I can then show you that all of the thermocouples are then covered in that correction factor file. So when this is applied to the merged file, the necessary correction factors will be applied to each of the thermocouples from 1 to 60. So I'm going to apply that to the current survey. There we go. Now for the logger correction, as I described before, what I have to do is go to Edit, and I'm going to apply the data logger correction factors. So if I click on that, because we have a merged file, the software is intelligent enough to realize that I've got 3 separate data loggers that have been used to provide the test data. I would then simply select the necessary loggers that are used to correct that, and make sure that the numbers of the calibration or correction factor files correlates to the data logger serial number, and then press update. That's now going to apply that to the data as well. So we now see in the top left hand corner we have our logger corrective factors and thermocouple correction factors applied to the test data that we're running. If I go to the test results now and look at 600, you can see here now that we've got all of the data for our TUS in the conventional way from channel 1 right through to 60. So we have full control over the analysis, the interpretation and the review of the TUS data, as you would do for a 10 or a 20 channel, but in this case with a 60 channel TUS run. An easy way to comply with all of the requirements of AMS 2750, even for the more difficult furnaces where you need excessive numbers of thermocouples to certify or validate the uniformity.